Hello, Divine Feminine. It is your reading today. We are doing a reading for you, Divine Feminine. I haven't done one of those in a while. Oops. So your numerology number, if this means something to you, is 5, 6, 56, 65, or 11. Those may have some type of meaning for you. But we are going to get into this reading for you today. Let's get your incense going here. And we're going to use my Alice in Wonderland deck. I don't know if you guys have noticed. I don't have a ton of them, but I do have several, movie or cartoon-based tarot decks. But I always choose movies or cartoons that have a deep esoteric meaning behind them. And Alice in Wonderland is definitely one of them. Alice in Wonderland is all about a person's spiritual awakening, their, kind of descent into this, upside down world that we're in, and then their, way back up to the true home, the divine home, the spiritual place that we all came from. So I like this deck. I like Alice in Wonderland a lot. I always say that when you don't know what the, bullseye is, the truth, right? You could say not the subject of truth, but the actual, spiritual truth, then everything seems like it's pointing in different directions in life, right? And it all seems unrelated. But the second that you know what the truth is, which is what your spiritual awakening is taking you to, all of a sudden you realize that everything was pointing you toward that thing, and that it's all connected. So these things that I use, these decks and stuff that I choose, all have special significant meaning to me because they're all interestingly pointing toward the same truth, just different ways and different perspectives of doing that. So our first question for Divine Feminine today is, what are past influences that are affecting you in your current journey, your present part of your journey from your past? And for this, we have King of Hedgehogs, which is actually coins. So we have King of Coins. So there are some practical things right now that are influencing you. It could be things like money. It could be certain types of authority figures in your life. It could be certain ways that you've been investing, in your life. Something that people oftentimes don't think of is that we have several types of currencies that we use or experience, or that we can spend throughout our life. Money is only one of them, but we have energy, like on a physical level, getting out and spending energy. We also have time, which is probably the most valuable currency. That's why jobs, they pay you a lesser currency for your most valuable currency, which is your time and your energy. So you want to spend your time and your energy wisely. You want to invest it wisely. And there may be certain areas where you need to work on that. There is something called the law of correspondence, which means that the mental, the physical, and the spiritual plane all work in correspondence with one another. And so how we can really spend our time wisely is making sure that we are spending time wisely in all three of these areas and that we have balance and harmony. And so, if you're spending a lot of time or even wasting a lot of time, which of course is subjective, but if you're wasting time on, worry and anxiety and fear that may or may not ever actually come to pass in the present moment, you're creating from that space, and it's going to affect how things show up in your physical world and, how you continue to shape your thoughts, which are your, part of your creative components as you're creating the life that you would like and desire. So spend your time wisely, spend your currency wisely, invest in things that are going to have a good return for you. You can think of that in a practical sense of like money and, jobs and relationships, but you could also think of that as in a spiritual sense of, where you're spending your time spiritually. The mental and the physical are also spiritual. Like everything in your life is spiritual when you understand that. The mental aspects of you and the physical aspects of you are manifestations that are born of the spiritual. The spiritual exists regardless. You don't have to have a body to exist. You exist anyway. But you do have to have a body to experience the physical world in the way that we do, right? But the spirit doesn't need the physical body. You exist whether you have a physical body or not. Your thoughts are not you. They're manifestations that you can give your time and attention to or choose not to. So think about those kinds of things. Those are things that really have a profound effect, Divine Feminine, on how you experience life. Those are the major influences that affect your journey. You want to really stay present, mindful, and pay attention. What is, I should say, a present issue right now that you are dealing with, or even, present issues that you are dealing with? So these are your influences. What are some of the issues that are kind of going on in your life right now and having an effect on you, both positively and negatively? And for this, we have Four of Cups, but in reverse. So right now, you are being faced with like a change in direction. Your life has kind of shifted. Maybe you felt like you were going in a certain direction, and then all of a sudden everything has just shifted and you're on some different path than you were before, and it's very unexpected. So it can, it can come with a whole host of confusion and excitement, exhilaration, sadness, depression, even mourning and loss of what once was. So you may be feeling quite a bit of ups and downs, like large oscillating variables in your emotions and in your thoughts. And that's okay. It's really going to reveal a lot to you. When we go through major changes, that's oftentimes when we start doing, mini life reviews and really just kind of looking into, all the little details of our life. And it can sometimes feel very overwhelming. But these changes have come because of something that was going on within you that led you to this, fork in the road. Hold on a second. I hear like a weird bumping noise. I think it's my dog. Okay. Sorry about that. I just had to check and see what was going on. So you've got these big shifts and changes that are taking place in your life. And the universe is like even though it seems like it's kind of all over the place and very chaotic and you don't really know what to expect, and that's bringing up a lot of fears, The universe knows what it's doing. You are in good hands, and everything is going to work out for your highest good. It really is. I mean, the universe doesn't make mistakes, and you are going through a spiritual awakening because there's something in you that's ready for that. You're ready for a higher experience, a higher level of consciousness, which is going to really benefit you well in how you manifest the life that you want. That doesn't mean that there will never be difficulties, of course, right, as you're going through this process, but you have these secret or even subconscious desires that come from a soul level that transcend the mind, and your higher self is working the bugs out or getting rid of the layers and the filters and the programming that have an interference frequency for you manifesting those deep desires of a life that you want. It's you who knows how many potential lifetimes it's taken you to even get to that place, right? So you are there now, and you are going through that right now. You've met your twin flame for a reason, and you're having this awakening, right? So you are in good hands, and trusting the process and allowing these changes to take place are going to be the thing that keeps you kind of neutral and at peace with all of it as it's happening. So keep that in mind as you go through this, okay, Divine Feminine? It's all going to work out for you, even in moments where it seems like it's not. In hindsight, you'll see that there were positive aspects, or I guess a positive result from the negative experiences. Okay, so future developments for you. Where are you going? Where are you headed? What can you expect? For this, we have 8 of Cups. You're going to need to take some time for yourself. You are going to need to make yourself the highest priority, at least for a period of time. You may be a giver or someone who's very nurturing, and maybe you have a tendency to put other people first or find validation by helping others, you know, or sometimes that can even be an avoidance thing. You don't want to deal with yourself or look at yourself, or maybe you don't even particularly like yourself, so you feel good helping other people because it makes you feel, you know, valuable. But you're going to need to step back from that for a period of time and just really work on and look at yourself, and so that you can really delve into this spiritual world that is going to open dimensions of consciousness and thought and experiences that you never knew were even possible. But that could only happen through that inner transformation, and you have to allow that to happen by making that your number one priority, your number one goal. So you are going in a very nice direction here, Divine Feminine. Very nice direction. And I know that in a year or 2 or 3 from now, you're going to look back and you're going to be very pleased with where you're at and everything that you've learned and experienced. You're going to see a massive amount of growth in yourself. You can't even help it. You can't even mess it up. It's just happening. Like, you can't stop it from happening any more than a child can stop themselves from growing into an adult. That's literally the truth. Like, you can't mess this up. You can't force yourself to stop growing. And you're going to be very pleased with where this is taking you. And in a couple years from now, as this becomes further and further, you know, behind you in your rearview mirror, you're going to look back and say, you know, even the dark night of the soul was a good thing. And I would have scoffed at anyone that told me that when I was in the middle of the dark night of the soul, because we all know how ridiculous that is and how difficult it is to believe that there's even a light at the end of the tunnel. So, advice for you, Divine Feminine. We have 9 of Wands. 9 of Wands. I'm going to sneeze. I don't know why. Excuse me. I always sneeze when I'm doing these tarot readings. Somebody wrote something in the comments once that it means something. So maybe that's why I'm always doing that. But I think they said that it meant that I was like speaking truth or something like that. So I don't know. I'll have to go back and look at it. It had something to do with telling the truth and, you know, saying something that was true. So I guess when I sneeze during these readings, maybe that's confirmation that the, you know, cards and that the interpretation of them are accurate, you know, from that inspired place from wherever they come from. Okay, so I lost my train of thought here. Oh yeah, advice for Divine Feminine. I write these questions down and you know, use them. Sometimes I'll change them slightly from reading to reading, even if I'm following the same kind of, you know, pattern for the reading. Most of the time I stay pretty accurate with them, but I like to kind of follow the same thing. I rotate them sometimes, so you've seen me do different ones. But okay, so this is advice, and this is advice that's coming to you from the universe. So you've got a goal of keeping and maintaining boundaries in all aspects of your life. And I've said this before during readings, and I'm going to say it again. Boundaries are for you because you're the one who has to stay within those boundaries. Even if you're setting those boundaries for other people and you're saying, like, no, you can't be abusive to me, or no, I'm not going to let you talk to me in a negative way, or no, I'm not going to let someone who steals from me be my friend. You still have to be the one that enforces that. So like, say they do it again. If you keep forgiving somebody over and over again, they're just going to, that's taking advantage of you, they're just going to keep taking advantage of you. They're never going to take you seriously. And so you're the one who has to say, no, I set a boundary. I told you, if you ever stole from me again, or if you ever lied to me again, or if you spoke down to me or were condescending, then, you know, I wasn't going to put up with that anymore. And you have to hold yourself to that boundary. That's being authentic and true to the self. And you have to make the twin flame within you, the higher self, the one that you follow, not anybody else or anything else. Nothing in the outside world, including your own thoughts, should be the Pied Piper that you follow. You need to follow the inner man or the inner woman that is inside of you. That's your true twin flame. That's where you and your twin flame are connected, right? The physical aspects are connected through the spiritual aspects. And you are the soul at that higher level. You want to be listening to the soul. And it's not always easy to do in this world. It's really not. You know, we are pulled into things by a lot of different influences, like we spoke about down here. And sometimes that can really make us feel super confused. And that's okay. That's all part of the process. You will continue to refine yourself and learn those things as you have all these experiences. The universe is guiding you. That inner compass, though, within you You really got to get in tune with that so that you can distinguish between the intuition and the ego. All right. People that are around the issues that you are facing that affect your decisions. So how are these people affecting you? How are the people in your life affecting the issues that you are currently facing? For this, we have 4 of Swords. 4 of Swords. In this deck, swords are flowers. Much better than swords, right? Oops, sorry. I'm like way up here. I'm not even looking at the camera. Okay, so we have 4 of Swords, but it's in reverse. So there is a restlessness. There's a lot of anxiety, burnout. This leads me to believe that you're not setting boundaries properly for yourself and for others. And even if you are setting them, you're not necessarily maintaining them. And people and influences around you are pulling you in a whole bunch of different directions, especially your divine masculine's energy. You are highly focused on that and really looking constantly at what's going on in that situation in order to decide what you should or shouldn't do. And you sometimes very clearly know, when, especially when you're dealing with your divine masculine, that you should or shouldn't act or say or allow certain things, right? You know, like, for example, maybe, you know, you got plans, you know, with someone that's important to you, like your parents or your kids or a best friend or somebody, right? Or even just you. You're like, okay, this weekend I was going to work on my yard. But then divine masculine calls and you're like, okay, I'm going to drop everything. You know, I'm cancel on this person and I'm going to go run and hang out with them. And then they flake on you and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did it again. Right? This is just an example, right? Some of you may really relate with that, and others of you may have different situations where you're going to know what I'm talking about. It's not going to be exactly the same, but you'll get it. Don't drop what you're doing. Don't, like, you got to put yourself first. That's what the universe is telling you, is put yourself first for a while. Retreat, take some time to go within, look at yourself. Don't look at the outside world. Follow that inner compass, the inner man or woman within you. And the one that would be probably the hardest to say no to, that may be the one you need to say no to the most, is your twin flame. So, but that's just one. Okay, you've got a whole bunch of other influences going on as well. You know, it could be kids, it could be an ex-spouse, it could be, you know, some of you could still be married, or in relationships with someone else, and it's, you know, them that's distracting you. But you need to tell some people no. And I'm adjusting my mic right now if you hear any funny noises. I'm taking a sweater off because I am way too hot right now, and I need to do that. It's really warm today. You need to say no to those people, okay? Sometimes it really is the twin flame that you need to say no to the most. They're the ones that are triggering you, and they're showing up a certain way to show you where you need to be in alignment more and where you're not in alignment. And so oftentimes that means that they're the ones you need to say no to. Or yes at certain moments. Sometimes it can be yes too. But you got to have the inner man or woman guide you to that divine feminine. That's where you got to, that's the one you got to, you know, quote unquote follow. It's the authentic, true you that's speaking to you from within. It's that still small voice, the quiet one, not the loud, obnoxious, egoic one. All right. Obstacles that you might face, things that may not be super obvious, like the hidden things. What are some of these hidden obstacles that you might face? And for this, we have 3 of Wands. All right, well, I don't know. Are you difficult to work with? Are you stubborn? Do you like having your own way sometimes? Or are you the exact opposite and you just acquiesce to whatever everybody else is doing? Teamwork is important, okay? And being able to all right, hold on. I'm getting a little bit of a hit with this. I'm switching direction because I'm feeling something. Not in so much a practical sense, but more in a spiritual sense of what the meaning behind this card is. You are going to have some very interesting synchronicities and spiritual gifts that either have already started showing up in your life or are going to start showing up in your life. And if they already have, they're going to get stronger. And if, not new candles here, so. And if they haven't yet, they're going to. And you need to open your mind up and trust, because a lot of things in the outside world are going to tell you, no, that's not real, or that's not true, or that's not how it works. And just because they haven't experienced it doesn't mean it's not true or that it's not real. I mean, even the twin flame journey, right? We all know we feel a little bit nutty with it because we know that nobody is going to believe us and that we don't really have anyone to talk to. So that's one of the first steps that opens our mind to kind of question, well, what is reality? Because I'm experiencing something that nobody else around me is experiencing. But you're going to have more stuff like that that's going to show up, and you need to be able to allow those changes to take place, because your guides or your spiritual team is trying to help you, namely, and number one, the inner man or woman within you, the higher self. So stay true to that and allow that to happen. Be open-minded is what this is telling me. Don't be closed off. Be receptive. Still wise about it, right? Not overly like to the point where you go to the other extreme, but just be open and allow it to guide you and to show you and to reveal to you what it's trying to reveal to you, and then for you to be able to cultivate those spiritual gifts as these revelations take place on your journey. All right. As far as action, what type of action or inspired action might you experience? Because action is important, but so is inaction sometimes. And that's, again, you have to have that discernment to know when to just witness and when to act. But we're going to take a look at what might come up as far as action, because we've talked a lot about the inner stuff. What's some of the outer stuff that you might need to move toward on a physical level? And when I say that, I mean in the 3D world, right? In the material world. And for this, we have Queen of Cups. So nurturing yourself, nurturing the relationships that are the most important to you. Don't forget to nurture those. And, you know, you need to retreat and go within and nurture yourself, number one. But in that process, don't forget the ones that are around you that love you and that are there to support you. God will send you a lot of angels during this time. And angels come in many different forms. It can be your neighbor, can be that person at work. It could be the cashier at the grocery store that just happens to say the right thing to you at the right time. It could be a book that comes to you, or a video that just happens to show up, you know, in your feed at the right time because it's answering a question that the universe knew existed within you, and it's time for it to be delivered. Pay attention to the synchronicities, but also remember during this time, while you put yourself number one so that you can keep your head above water, it's okay to still go over and nurture these relationships with, you know, your family members and your best friends. Don't be afraid to lean on other people. Don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help when you need it, because you deserve it. You're not a burden to anyone. Okay? All right, let's get a card here, an oracle card here for you guys. Which one do I want to use today? I think I'm going to use my this one. My Shaman Oracle. I really like this one. It's kind of my new fave recently. All right. I just like the advice that this one gives a lot. So let me get you this card. If you guys haven't already, please like and subscribe. We really appreciate the support on the channel. We also do one-on-ones, personal tarot readings, and we have awesome group calls with a private Facebook group where you can network with other twin flames and get the support that you need at any moment in time. I monitor all of these things. I'm in all of the group calls, and I love having the opportunity to talk and help you guys. With the group calls, you get anywhere from, I think, let's see, 2 to 4 calls per week, depending on which package you choose. And, you know, each one lasts at least an hour, maybe longer. Sometimes they go up to 2 hours. So it's very inexpensive. And if you are interested in that, we would love the opportunity to work with you. And you can find all that information at our website or in the description box below. All right, your oracle card today is the Andean Cross. That's very beautiful, isn't it? All right, number 2, the Andean Cross. All right, pages, come on, knock it off. Turn. Thank you. All right. The Essence. The Andean Cross represents the cosmology of the shaman. Have you ever been pulled toward that? I wouldn't doubt it if many of you had. It depicts the 4 cardinal directions, the upper and lower worlds, and the steps to reach these realms. The hole in the center is a gateway to interdimensional travel. The proverbial eye of the needle we can all go through to experience higher states of awareness and wisdom and to break free of linear time. That's where this journey is leading you, Divine Feminine. The Andean Cross announces the start to a great journey. You are on a great journey. It's time to raise your gaze from the mundane, physical world and into the spiritual. So it's time to raise your gaze from the mundane day-to-day to that which until now has seemed beyond your grasp. Allow new wisdom to guide you and stop trying to make sense of it all before you respond with a resounding yes. Just say yes. The time has passed and the window of opportunity has closed. Now is not the moment to take that leap that you have been over preparing for. It is best to wait until conditions in heaven line up again to offer you a more Sorry, I lost my space here. me figure it out. It is best to wait until conditions in heaven line up again to offer you a more propitious moment. Any bold action you take now will require tremendous effort on your part. Just as important as knowing when to act is knowing when to return to your inner stillness and wait for more favorable times. To me, that kind of reminds me of what I was talking about. Know when to act and know when to pull back. Sometimes we know we need to take action towards something, and sometimes we know we need to retreat. How are we going to know which? When sometimes the world can make things seem so confusing? By following the inner compass, the bullseye. Okay? You can't mess this up. So learning and growing and shifting and changing and trying things is only going to lead, failure itself is only going to lead to self-mastery. So I don't want you to get too caught up and like be like, oh, I'm afraid to act, but I'm afraid to not act. I don't know which is which. Test the waters a little bit. Kind of run into the, fear head first. If you fear it, you got to look at that and go, where's the fear coming from? Because fear is always an illusion. Okay? It's always an illusion. At least when it comes to like the ordinary day-to-day life. And if you go deeper, it's an illusion in the sense of your soul is not tied to this world. Okay, this world exists because of your soul. So, even, the largest tragedies that we experience are not a part of your true identity, your true self. So this journey is to lead you out of fear and into the true love that you are. But it is a journey, you guys. It is a process. Just like, a child, doesn't control that they're growing up. You are going through this process. It's going to happen. It's already been happening. You're in the middle of it. But you can't mess it up, You can't make it not happen. It's just letting go and recognizing and allowing it to happen that's going to give you inner peace, and having trust in the journey is going to help you let go of the things that are creating resistance and more, karmic lessons that need to be learned in order to let go of fear. Just let go of the fear. All right. If you guys have more questions on that or need, more information, of course, by all means, let us know in the comments below. But again, you can also reach out to us anytime through email and, through the means that we have available in the description box below. I love you guys. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time. Take care.